In 1938, a group of archaeologists broke into a hidden cave in the Chinese mountains. What they found inside should have rewritten human history: ancient paintings. Thousands of years old. But these weren't paintings of hunters or animals, they were paintings of beings in helmets, wearing suits, with cylindrical objects attached to their backs. They looked exactly like modern astronauts. The Chinese government seized everything within 48 hours. The lead archaeologist? He disappeared. His notes? Burned, but the truth got out anyway, and what they found in that cave changes everything we know about ancient civilizations. This is that story. The Bayan Karaula Mountains on the border between China and Tibet. One of the most isolated places on Earth. Professor Chi Pu-Ti from Beijing University was leading an archaeological expedition. They were searching for ancient burial sites, cave systems, anything that could tell them about the people who lived here 10,000 years ago. What they found was beyond anything they could have imagined. The entrance was hidden, covered by centuries of rock and vegetation. But when they finally broke through, the cave system was massive. Multiple chambers, tunnels going deep into the mountain. And everywhere, on every wall, there were carvings. But these weren't normal ancient carvings. Professor Chi Pu-Ti stood frozen, holding his torch up to the cave wall. There, painted in mineral dyes that had somehow survived 10,000 years, were figures. Dozens of them. But these figures, they weren't human. Not exactly. They had large, dome-shaped heads, huge eyes, thin bodies. And they were wearing what looked like suits. Helmets with tubes, cylindrical packs on their backs. One of his students whispered, "Professor, those look like astronauts." Chi Pu-Ti finished. They look exactly like astronauts. But that was impossible. This cave was 10,000 years old. Humans wouldn't even invent the airplane for another 65 years. Space suits? Space travel? That was science fiction. Yet here they were. Clear as day. Beings in spacesuits, painted 10,000 years ago. But the paintings were just the beginning. On another wall, they found something even more disturbing: a detailed star map. Not just random dots. A precise astronomical chart showing constellations, planetary alignments, and a solar system that looked eerily similar to ours, but with subtle differences that wouldn't be discovered by modern astronomy until the 1970s. How could ancient cave dwellers know this? They couldn't. Unless someone showed them. And then, in the deepest chamber, they found them. Stone discs. Hundreds of them. Each about 9 inches in diameter with a hole in the center, like ancient records. But these weren't decorative. They were covered in tiny grooves, spiraling from the center to the edge. And in those grooves, microscopic hieroglyphics. Chi Pu-Ti carefully lifted one. It was heavier than it should be. The stone was unusual. Almost metallic in some places. He turned to his team.
Document everything. Photograph every wall. Catalog every disc. This is the most important find in human history.
He had no idea how right he was. Or how dangerous this discovery would become. Within 48 hours, everything changed. The Chinese government got word of the discovery. And they moved fast. Military trucks arrived at the remote dig site. Armed soldiers sealed off the entire area. No one in. No one out. Professor Chi Pu-Ti and his team were escorted away. They were told this was now a matter of national security. The cave was classified. The findings were classified. Everything was classified. Over the next few months, something strange started happening. The photographs they'd taken? Confiscated. The detailed notes? Seized. The stone discs? Locked away in a government facility. And the people involved? They started disappearing. Two of Chi Pu Ti's lead researchers simply vanished. No explanation. No trace. Their families were told they'd relocated for work. Chi Pu Ti himself was placed under house arrest. He was forbidden from speaking about the discovery. Forbidden from publishing. Forbidden from even mentioning the cave's location. The official story? Archaeological expedition finds nothing of significance. But Chi Pu Ti had been smart. Before everything was taken, he'd hidden something. One disc. One single stone disc. And his personal journal documenting everything. For 24 years, Chi Pu Ti stayed silent. He had no choice. The government was watching. Always watching. But in 1962, something happened that would blow this story wide open again. A Beijing scientist named Tsum Nui somehow got access to some of the confiscated stone discs. Don't ask how. That part's still classified. But what he did with them changed everything. Tsum Nui spent 4 years trying to decode the microscopic writing on the discs. 4 years of obsessive work. Comparing symbols. Cross-referencing ancient languages. Running tests on the strange metallic properties of the stone. And then, finally, he cracked it. What he translated was, impossible. According to Tsum Nui's translation, the discs told a story. A story about a spacecraft that crash-landed in the Bayan Kerala Mountains 12,000 years ago. The beings inside, called the Dropa, survived the crash but couldn't repair their ship. They were stranded. Stuck on Earth. The local tribes found them. At first, there was fear. Violence. The cave paintings showed this. The conflict between the sky people and the humans. When Tsum Nui tried to publish his findings in 1962, the response was immediate and brutal. The Chinese Academy of Sciences rejected his paper. Called it ridiculous. Demanded he retract everything. He refused. So they made him. Tsum Nui was stripped of his position. His research was confiscated. He was publicly humiliated and labeled a fraud. In 1965, broken and defeated, he fled to Japan. He died there just a few years later, officially from heart failure. But people close to him said he died of a broken heart. That he knew the truth but the world wasn't ready to hear it. So where are the discs now? Most of them? Gone. Vanished. The Chinese government claims they were lost during the Cultural Revolution in the 1960s. Lost? Hundreds of ancient artifacts that could prove alien contact. Just lost? Or hidden? Some researchers claim a few discs made it out of China. That they're in private collections. In secret museums. In government facilities around the world. In 1974, Austrian engineer Ernst Wiegerer claimed he saw 2 of the discs in a Chinese museum. He even took photos. But when he tried to return years later, the museum said they never had any such discs. His photos? Dismissed as fakes. But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember the location? Bayan Kerala Mountains. Remote. Isolated. Barely explored even today. There's a tribe that still lives there. 2 tribes, actually. The Dropa and the Han. And they're different. In the 1990s, anthropologists finally got permission to study these tribes. What they found was bizarre. The Dropa people are unusually short, averaging about 4 feet tall. They have large heads, thin, frail bodies, yellowish skin, and enormous eyes. Sound familiar? The gray aliens, described in thousands of modern UFO encounters. Large heads, big eyes, thin bodies, small stature. Exact. Same description. In 1995, genetic testing was done on members of the Dropa tribe. The results? Anomalous. Their DNA showed markers that didn't match any known Asian population. There were sequences that geneticists couldn't explain. Mutations that suggested something else in their ancestry. The scientists who conducted the study were told to bury the results. Too controversial. Too dangerous. But whispers got out. The Dropa tribe has oral histories passed down for thousands of years. They speak of the sky people who came from the stars. They tell stories of beings who taught their ancestors about the cosmos, who gave them knowledge. And they have a ceremony every year, where they go to the sacred caves and honor those who came from above. Coincidence? In 2007, a team of explorers claimed they found the cave system again. They took photos, video footage, samples. The paintings were still there. Faded but visible. Beings in helmets. Star maps. Spacecraft. They submitted everything to Chinese authorities for official documentation. The response? Those caves are protected heritage sites. No further access permitted. Translation: stop looking. But here's what's really mind-blowing. Similar cave paintings have been found around the world. In Val Camonica, Italy, 10,000-year-old paintings of figures in suits with antennas. In Australia, Aboriginal rock art showing beings with helmets descending from the sky. In India, ancient carvings of vimanas, flying machines, and beings in strange suits. In Egypt, hieroglyphs that look suspiciously like helicopters and spacecraft. All of them thousands of years old. Different continents. Different cultures. All showing the same thing, beings from the sky. In suits. With technology. How do you explain that? Mainstream scientists say it's all coincidence. Misinterpretation. Ancient people trying to depict their gods or shamanic visions. But then why do the depictions look so specific? So technical? So similar across thousands of miles and thousands of years? And why does the Chinese government work so hard to hide the Dropa discs? If they were fake, wouldn't they just prove it and move on? Instead, they confiscate. They classify. They make people disappear. That doesn't sound like the response to a hoax. That sounds like the response to something real. So let's put it all together. In 1938, archaeologists found a cave system 10,000 years old. Inside were paintings of astronauts, star maps that shouldn't exist, and stone discs with microscopic writing telling the story of a crashed spacecraft. The Chinese government immediately classified everything. Researchers disappeared. Evidence vanished. Anyone who tried to talk about it was silenced. A tribe still lives in that region with genetic anomalies and oral histories about sky people. And similar evidence exists all over the world. Here's the question nobody wants you to ask. What if we're not the first? What if advanced beings visited Earth thousands of years ago? What if they crashed here? Got stranded? Lived among our ancestors? What if everything we've been taught about human history, that we developed alone, that we figured everything out ourselves, is wrong? What if we had help? And what if governments around the world know this and have been hiding it for decades? Think about it. If the Dropa discs are real, if they prove ancient alien contact, everything changes. Religion, history, science. Our entire understanding of humanity's place in the universe. That's not just controversial. That's civilization shaking. So maybe that's why they hide it. Not because it's fake, but because it's too real. But here's what they can't hide: the cave is still there. The paintings are still there. The Dropa tribe is still there. The truth doesn't go away just because you bury it. And every year, more evidence surfaces. More witnesses come forward. More researchers risk their careers to investigate. The Dropa Discs told a story 12,000 years ago. A story of visitors from the stars. Of a crash. Of survival. Of contact. And maybe, just maybe, that story is true. Professor Chi Pu Ti died in 1974. He never got to tell his full story. He never got to reveal what he really saw in that cave. But before he died, he told his granddaughter something: "I found proof. Proof that we are not alone. Proof that we never were. They came here. They lived here. And some of them never left." The next time you look up at the stars and wonder if we're alone in the universe, remember the cave in the mountains. Remember the paintings of astronauts made 10,000 years before we went to space. Remember the stone discs with their impossible message. And remember that sometimes, the most unbelievable stories are the true ones.